Hey everybody, welcome to Spikey Saturday number 107 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and Aether Revolt is here. It's been released in paper at least, which means of course at FNM I drafted it. I drafted 2 packs of Aether Revolt and 1 pack of Kaladesh, as is tradition, and I drafted that at the Gamers Emporium here in London, Ontario. If you are in the area, if you're coming through the area, stop on by at the corner of Wonderland and Oxford. We do drafts every single FNM. We have Standard Sundays, we have Commanders on Saturdays, we have Modern on Tuesdays, we have Cube sometimes, we have a sealed league that we're starting up, tons of fun stuff. But we're going to take a look at the draft right now. So here we are with our 3 packs. I, of course, am still holding out hope to someday open a masterpiece, but we'll see if that ever happens. There's a Hinterland Drake on top. I flip to the back. There's a foil Implement of Ferocity. Woohoo. Tezzeret emblem goes off to the side. Baral's Expertise immediately goes to the front. Probably just the clear pick in this pack. There is an Airdrop Aeronauts, but I don't think the Expertise is worse than that. There's a Chandra's Revolution, but again, that Expertise just keeps getting pushed back to the front there. There's a Bastion Enforcer, Natural Obsolescence, Lifecraft Cavalry, tons of stuff that I wouldn't mind seeing back around. Nice foil there, but not a good card. I do, of course, just take the Expertise because, hey, it's a super powerful card. Next pack comes to my left. There's a Servo Schematics on top, a Shock, which gets pushed to the front, a Vengeful Rebel, which gets pushed in front of the Shock even, and then not too much else. There's a Renegade Rallier, but I don't think it's that great in draft, and certainly not this high of a pick. Vengeful Rebel is really going to sit there on the top, and that, of course, is going to push me down that blue-black deck that I super want to try, even though I don't know if it's going to be that good. But hey, Vengeful Rebel's still really good. It's still a 3/2, I think it was there. And the -3/-3 effect for Revolt is really solid. It's really between that or Shock, and I just think the Rebel is so much better than Shock. I flip through the pack one more time, but nope, the Rebel gets the pick. Pack 1, pick 3 is up. We've got a Steamworks Brawler and Aether Chaser, which I both pushed to the front. There was a Leave in the Dust there, Dark Intimations, which I'm not going for, Sly Requisitioner, which is not that good, I don't think. Leave in the Dust gets pushed to the front. I think it's a really solid card. I love bouncing things at instant speed, even if it does cost me 4 mana. Plus, I get a card for it, which is fine. I read over Dark Intimations one more time, just to confirm to myself that no, I'm not going to really try to play this that much in draft. Certainly not in sealed either, so I do just take that Leave in the Dust. Next pack, we've got Fourth Bridge Prowler, which I still don't think is that good, despite what everybody says. There's an Unbridled Growth, and Narnam Renegade, Iron Tread Crusher, Bastion Enforcer gets pushed to the front along with that Renegade map, because hey, maybe I want to splash for something. Bastion Inventor goes with kind of the blue that I've taken so far, the Barrel's Expertise. But Narnam Renegade's really good, and green is ridiculously good in this set, just like it was in Kaladesh, so it gets pushed up there as well. Bastion Enforcer, Renegade map, really kind of a tough choice as to where I head here. I do take that Narnam Renegade though, just because of the sheer power of green. Black, I haven't seen too much. Next pack's here already, and then there's a Preyapon, which, well, I'm going to start taking some signals here from my left, or from my right, I believe. So Preyapon does sit at the front, and it's probably just going to stay there. There's a Dawnfeather Eagle, which gets pushed to the front, but I think Preyapon's just solid, especially when I just took a 1/2 Death Toucher, which means that for 2 mana I can kill whatever I want. I do just take that Preyapon. Next pack is here. I'm not going to get a break. Aether Herder, Silkweaver Elite, Renegade's Getaway, Alley Evasion is fine. I do really like it. It's a really good utility. There's not too much going on here. I do keep thinking about the white a little bit, just because I also really like white in the set, all of those pacify effects and whatnot. Sly Requisitioner, I check it out a couple more times just to confirm that no, it's not actually that good. I do just take the Aether Herder, and at this point I'm thinking green might be where I end up. Next pack, we've got Siege Modification, Shipwreck Moray, Renegade Wheelsmith, but I'm neither red nor white at this point, so that's unfortunate. There's not much going on here. Shipwreck Moray is the only thing that goes with cards that I've taken that I'd moderately maybe play, so I do take that. Next pack is up. We've got ourselves a Conviction, a Wrangle, another Renegade map, which maybe I take it here, but there's a Barricade Breaker, and I wasn't too big on Barricade Breaker, but I know a lot of people were. I think Limited Resources gave it a very high rating, so it's a card that I definitely do want to try at some point. And hey, if the blue-black stream lives, which I really don't think it is because I'm getting 0 black, maybe I'll have a lot of artifacts to improvise with. So I do take that Barricade Breaker to give it a shot and see how it might work. Alright, next pack is here. We've got a Reservoir Walker. Hey, Hinterland Drake came back around. I think this is possibly my pack. I'd have to count the cards. Yeah, there's not too much going on in this pack. There's just a Hinterland Drake, which I take as some sort of signal that blue's slightly open, and I snap that down. Next pack is here. We've got Filigree Crawler, Servo Schematic, Reservoir Walker, Implement of Malice. Nothing really. The Aether Revolt packs are going to get really bad near the end because there's so many unplayable artifacts. I take the Servo Schematics because, hey, artifacts, maybe that goes with the Barricade Breaker. Who knows? Not great picks in that pack. Getting near the end of pack 1, we've got a Prizefighter Construct, a 4th Bridge Prowler, Fenhauler, and a Destructive Tampering. At this point, I really started to notice black was really not coming from my right at all. I assumed that the guy to my right was in black. I take the 4th Bridge Prowler. I still just don't think it's a super main deckable card. Last few picks, we've got a Bastion Inventor, which just seems like the clear pick here. It's a totally fine card. Obviously, you want to be getting at least 1 discount, preferably 2, but a 4/4 hexproof can be quite challenging to deal with. Last 2 picks, I'm expecting garbage, and hey, that's what it is, Reservoir Walker or an Implement of Malice. Well, I'm not black at this point. I've pretty much decided on that, so I'm not going to take the Implement. So I take the Reservoir Walker, which I also will most certainly not play. And then final pick, we've got ourselves an Aegis Automaton, another card that I will not play. So at this point, I wasn't terribly sure what was going on. I think I was blue. I felt I was getting some blue signals. I felt green was slightly open. I felt black was closed, but that's about all I understood. But hey, pack 2 has Greenbelt Rampager, and I'm not passing that up. There's a Hungry Flames, but I've taken no red. I do just snap that giant elephant down, because that on turn 2 is a beating. Pack 2, pick 2, we've got a Foil Aether Herder. I don't terribly want that. A Daring Demolition, which I pause on and remember, oh yeah, black's really closed off right now. There's a Scrounging Bunder, there's a, hey, Pacification Array. That goes in whatever deck I play. As much as I want those green cards, I will play a Pacification Array every single time, and I snap that down. Pack 2, pick 3, we've got a Life Crafter's Awakening, we've got a Maulfist Revolutionary, which I push right to the front, because hey, 3/3 trample for 3 is solid, and if I am going to go down the green route, I should be able to get a number of counters, right? But it is really between that and Lifecraft Awakening. Lifecraft Awakening is just a solid pump spell, but I do take the 3/3, because hey, efficiency. Next pack comes along. We've got not too much an Aether Swooper, a Natural Obsolescence, not too much going on in here. I pushed the Mobile Garrison to the front. Aether Swooper comes back up to the front. I wasn't too big on Aether Swooper in my set review. I do think it's fine. It is a 1/2 for 2. The servo production is where I don't super care, but you know, getting a chump blocker is fine. So I do just take the Aether Swooper there. And at that point, I start to think, hey, blue-green energy is a deck that I could play. Lifecraft Cavalry gets pushed right to the front. There's a Gremlin Infestation that I pause on because I still really want to give that a go. I still think a lot of people are wrong on that card and that it's actually pretty decent. Yeah, Lifecraft Cavalry is going to kind of stick out there at the front. I look at this Implement of Examination for a bit. I think about the Improvise that I have so far, the Inventor and the Barricade Breaker, but I really don't want to spend a real pick on an Implement, so I do just take the Lifecraft Cavalry. Next pack, I get past a Narnam Renegade, which I'm totally fine taking a second one of. Very, very happy, and I snap that down. Next pack, we get past a Universal Solvent and Aether Stream Leopard. At this point, I'm pretty much, and a Highspire Infusion. At this point, I'm pretty willing to say green's very open, and I'm going to go the blue-green route. So I'm really between the Life Stream or the Leopard, and I do just take that Leopard, because hey, 2/3 that becomes a 4/3 trample is pretty good. Next pack, I'm hoping the green's still flowing, and hey, it is, with a Pima Aether Seer and a Prey Upon. This is my second boar that I've seen as well, but I haven't really seen the fixing, or I've passed the fixing, so I don't want to go into the boars yet. I will just take the Pima Aether Seer. Next up, we get the bluest pack ever. Unfortunately, nothing great there. It's really between, do I want a Metallic Rebuke or a Negate? Metallic Rebuke is, of course, Mana Leak, so I feel obligated to take that, and I do. Next pack is already there. What do we get? I'm holding in a sneeze right now. We get an Outland Boar. We get a Natural Obsolescence. I really think about the Outland Boar and can I splash for it, but I do just take the Artifact Hate because, hey, I think it's probably going to be pretty important in this format with the stupid train. Next pack, we are again faced with Metallic Rebuke over Negate. I think about that turret because if I'm blue-green, I'm going to be big energy. But I take the Negate because, hey, I've already got a Rebuke. Maybe the Negate's for the sideboard. Next pack already here. We've got 3 picks left. There's the Negate or the turret. We're again faced with the same decision. And I take neither. I take the Foundry Assembler. I think that was its name. Take into custody versus Natural Obsolescence. I already have an Obsolescence, so I take the Take into Custody. But I don't think it's a good card. I strongly don't recommend playing that. And finally, another Reservoir Walker for the collection of unplayables. So I've made my decision. I'm moving into blue-green energy, and here's a pack that should really help that out. Kaladesh. I flip to the rare, and hey, it's Sky Sovereign. I have drafted and played with this card 4 different times. There is an Imperial Voyager in that pack, as you might have seen, which is fantastic in my deck if I'm going blue-green energy. But a Sky Sovereign is a Sky Sovereign. I really can't not take it, and unfortunately I'm not showing you guys this pack as much as I should have been. I was too distracted by taking the card for the 4th time in a draft. There we go. As you can see, there's not too much else going on in the pack. It's really Imperial Voyager, Sky Sovereign, Prism, and that's about it. I guess there's a Snare Thopter as well. But come on, Sky Sovereign's the easy first pick there for sure, as much as I want that Imperial Voyager. Next pack, what do we get? We get an Attune with Aether, gets pushed to the front. A Renegade Freighter certainly gets pushed to the front. Welding Sparks, just in case I wanted to splash, but that idea, it gets thrown away pretty quick. Renegade Freighter is really solid. The only reason the person to my right passed it is because they opened a Smuggler's Copter, which is a better vehicle than Renegade Freighter. But really, there's not too much of a choice here. As much as I like Attune, as much as I want the energy, I'm going to be a 2-color deck, I think. So Renegade Freighter is the next pick. Next pack, we've got a Pillar Bug, an Engineered Might, a Restoration Gearsmith, an Electrostatic Pummeler. Hey, Thriving Rhino, how's it going? Aether Theorist as well. Energy is gonna be big. Now, do I want Scry or do I want a big creature? I want a big creature, especially because I do have the Malfrist Revolutionary to put extra counters on it and such. Next pack, there's not too much going on in this one so far. Come on, anything? Nope, nothing. We're really looking at a Sage of Shayla's Claim, a Ceremonious Rejection, which I really don't want, a Sky Skiff, which I'm certainly not taking, a Creeping Mold, which is a really bad bit of Artifact Hate when there's so much other good Artifact Hate in the set. I just take the Sage of Shayla's Claim. It's a 2-drop, it can be aggressive, and it gets me energy. Solidly in blue-green now. What do we get here? Something awesome for my deck? Nope. Again, nothing. Blue-green is suddenly not flowing from my right, which is slightly problematic. I've got an Ornamental Courage or a Weldfast Wingsmith. I'm not that heavy on artifacts, so I just take the Ornamental Courage as a little combat trick. Maybe I'll get somebody with it. Next up, we've got a lot of white in this pack. We've got the Restoration Gearsmith plus the Herald plus the Glint Sleeve, but there's an Aether Tradewinds, which is the only pick for me, and a solid pick for me. I'm pretty happy to have that. Next up, we've got even more white, and again, not much for me. There's a Vidalcan Blademaster or a Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. Puzzle Knot could help the Improvise for my Bastion Inventor, my Barricade Breaker, plus give me energy for what I'm doing, plus Scry. Vidalcan Blademaster, on the other hand, is a 2/3 that sometimes maybe will be a 3/4, and that's really about it. Not too much in this pack. I'm not sure what signals are being sent here. I'm not sure why Gear Shift Ace wasn't taken, because the person to my right was in blue-white. So it's really the Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. I do hesitate on this for a while, because I don't honestly believe I'm going to play the Puzzle Knot, but I do take it anyways. Next pack, we've got a Capture by the Consulate relatively late, an Attune, another Aether Theorist. I again have the Attune at the front, and I just try to figure out, is there anything that I might splash for? I even go through and I was like, hey, I took some black stuff, right? Is the black stuff worth splashing for? And not really. I'm very much going to be blue-green, so I do just take the Aether Theorist. More energy for everybody. Another pack up already. We've got Commencement, Sage. Nothing really going on. I just take the Sage. There's not much else to say about that pick, really. Next pack, we've got an Attune with Aether. Well, you know, if I keep getting them, I may as well take one. Plus, it's the only pick, so I may as well. Next pack, we've got a really late Restoration Gearsmith. I don't think anybody was black-white. I'd take it anyways, because I don't want to really play against that, and I knocked my camera flying there for a second. Last couple of picks here, last three picks rather. Creeping Mold is the only card that I might possibly sideboard, so I guess I'll take it, but I'm certainly not going to play it, not when I have a Natural Obsolescence. Doesn't hit enchantments, but who cares? Second last pick, we've got the Terrible Train or a Demolish. I take the Terrible Train, but I'm never, ever, ever going to play it. And then final pick, we get a Poor Unwanted Reckless Fireweaver. I like it, but not for my deck. And so that's how the draft portion went. I was getting some weird signals. I wasn't quite sure where to end up, but I did end up in a pretty solid blue-green energy deck. Very traditional sort of Kaladesh style. Get energy, pump up your Thriving Rhino, and hopefully win. So let's take a look at the deck. So here's the deck as it ended up. It's got a decent curve and a ton of turn 1 plays there, although Prey Upon and whatnot aren't necessarily turn 1 plays. And then, of course, a nice top end with Sky Sovereign, and we've got Barrel's Expertise. Let's take a look at each drop slot individually. The one drop slot, as I said, was nice and full with a pair of Narnem Renegades, which block and kill everything. A Greenbelt Rampager, which multiple times came down on turn 2 because of the Forest Elephant, Forest Elephant, Forest Elephant play. Super solid card. We've got an Ornamental Courage in there, which I did put in after match 2 when I found out the Barricade Breaker just was uncastable in my deck. Prey Upon, which I somehow never saw, but would have been great with the Narnem Renegades. An Attune with Aether, which frankly was just for energy and being able to keep slightly sketchier hands, and of course the Pacification Array, which is an absolute all-star in every single deck ever. The 2-drop slot was a little bit shakier with an Aether Swooper, which is fine and did some work, but I still don't think it's an absolute auto-include. Aether Theorist, which of course is solid, Sage of Shayla's Claim, which is pretty mediocre, and a Natural Obsolescence, which I did main deck just in case of Terrifying Trains, and the, of course, known Smuggler Copter at the table. The 3-drop slot returns to being solid with, of course, Thriving Rhino, Hinterland Drake, Aetherstream Leopard, the Renegade Freighter. I did main deck the Metallic Rebuke because I do like mana leaks, especially when they can potentially be actually mana leaks. Aether Tradewinds did some good work, and really the only sort of slightly mediocre card was the Maulfist Revolutionary, just because it was a 3/3 trample for 3 a lot of the time. But a 3/3 trample for 3 is still fine. The 4-drop slot was a bit sparse with just the Aether Seer and the Leave in the Dust, but the Leave in the Dust allowed me to get through. That combined with the Pacification Array often meant that I could just completely turn off my opponent's blockers, and the Aether Seer had some good value as well. Finally, the 5-drop slot housed my bombs. I had Sky Sovereign, which I don't think I have to tell anybody is a bomb. It's absolutely amazing. Just being able to Lightning Bolt the turn it comes down, and then every turn after, assuming you attack with it, and then your opponent's dead to a 6/5 flyer. Really good. Brawl's Expertise, I would love to tell you how good this card is, but I never saw it. I did not see it once in 6 games. And of course, Lifecraft Cavalry was fine, although it wasn't revolting enough for me in this deck. I didn't have quite as many ways to reliably trigger Revolt, because I didn't get any of the Cat Monkeys, and I didn't get any of the Unbridled Growths, etc. And so yeah, that's the deck. Somewhat slightly aggressive with some serious bombs and some good energy production. So how did it do? Well, in match 1, I was up against Doug, who is often very aggressive, and he attempted to be with red-black again, splashing green because he needed some Outland Boars. He tried to be aggressive, unfortunately, due to some mana issues, flooding out, and some other things. I did pretty quickly run him over. It appeared to me I wasn't quite aware just how fast my deck could be, but it turns out my deck could actually be pretty fast. I won 2-0 in that match in very short order, maybe 15 minutes total. Match 2, I was up against Dan, also very aggressive. He was playing a Solemn Recruit, which I had seen beside me the previous match was a 12-12 and attacked in for 24. One single attack finished that game. Thankfully, I was able to handle that with Sky Sovereign, and again, 2 very, very, very quick games, and I won 2-0. Finally, I was up against the store owner Sean in match 3 for all the marbles. He was playing also a very aggressive deck with 4, count them 4, Renegade Wheelsmiths. I watched him in the previous match play Wheelsmith, 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 which of course makes your opponent's board totally useless, because if they're matching you creature for creature, you're still just smashing through for a bunch of damage. I won that match in also very short order. A lot of my matches ended on like turn 4 or turn 5 when I just went elephant, bigger creature, vehicle, or creature. If my opponent stumbled at all, I totally ran them over, which I think is going to be kind of the name of the game of this format as well. I don't think it's changed from Kaladesh too much, where if you do stumble, you are in trouble. So make absolute certain that you have 2 drops and 3 drops. Make sure they're in your hand. Make sure you have stuff to do. Otherwise, you can and will be run over in this format. Despite how quickly my matches went, I do think the format has slightly slowed down from Kaladesh, but not by too much. And of course, my advice so far, as with Kaladesh, is draft green, because green is, for some reason, ridiculously, unbalancedly powerful in this set. I've been on the good side of that so far, having played green in every single limited tournament of this set I've played so far. Hopefully that can continue, but I would of course like to branch out and try the other colors as well. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this recap. Let me know how your first drafts went. I don't play much standard, but let me know how your standard went with the new standard format with this introduced. Let me know how your FNM went. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at the Mana Leek. That's Leek, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/themanaleak, twitch.tv/themanaleak, and patreon.com/themanaleak if you want to become a backer there. As always, click that thumbs up icon if you like the content. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.